Hello, I'm María Celeste and today I'm going to present you an agriculture report. A new report says if women farmers had the same right as men, more could be done to reduce world hunger. The report Empowering Women in Agriculture from the anti-hunger group Bread from the World. Bread for the World says equal access to agricultural resources would help increase food security and economic growth. Faustine Webwire is the group's foreign assistant specialist. She says women constitute half of the agricultural labor force in not just Africa, but the developing countries as the whole. And when you think of Africa alone, she says, it is more than 60% of total agricultural labor force being provided by women. The report says in most countries, women working in rural areas are more likely than men to hold seasonal, part-time, and low-wage jobs. They also receive less pay from the same work. Mrs. Webwire says women farmers often cannot get seeds, fertilizer, proper tools, credit, and especially land. She says in most Africa, about 80% of the population is living in rural areas and they subsist on agriculture. Women make up 60% of the agricultural labor force, and yet they lack access to resources, she says. She says land is one good example. Less than 20% of all landholders are women. This is often because of legal as well as agricultural reasons. She says women who have lost their husbands may have no legal rights over land. The only way to keep the land, she says, is to marry, say, the brother of the dead husband. Restrictions like this, she says, continue to impede women's ability to fully enjoy their human rights. However, Mrs. Webwire says women in agricultural are getting more attention these days. For example, Kenya's new constitution gives women the right to own land, but she says there is still a long way to go. Bread for the World is urging the United States government to increase development assistance, or at least not to decrease it. She says, feed the future. The U.S. government's agriculture aid program is helping to elevate the status of women. But Mrs. Webwire says more African governments must recognize the major role that women play in agriculture and elsewhere. Just how much hunger could reduce if women had equal access to agricultural resources? The report estimates that hunger could be reduced for an extra 100 to 150 million people. For VOA Special English, I am María Celeste Reyes. Here out the VOA Special English Agriculture Report. Japan's nuclear crisis may mean greater demand for imported goods and less competition for Japanese products in world markets. But it also means that Japanese farmers and others who make and sell food have to worry about their future. Yasumichi Tanaka sells fish at one of Japan's busiest fish markets, but now there are fewer fish to sell. He says, fish supplies from the radiation-contaminated regions have been totally halted. The radiation is from the Fukushima nuclear power station that was damaged by the March 11th earthquake and tsunami. China joined a number of other countries that have banned imports of food and the affected areas. Chinese media said the banned items include milk products, fruit, and vegetables and seafood. Singapore also has a ban in place. Restaurant manager Connie Han says some people are worried about eating Japanese food. The United States has also banned foods from radiation affected areas, and so has the Japanese government itself. Radioactive particles travel in the wind and get absorbed into the soil with the help of rain and snow. Then plant roots take up the material and the plants become contaminated. Animals eat the plants and their products become contaminated. Some kinds of radiation stay in the environment longer than others. Medical physicist Gerald Bushberg is a radiation expert from the University of California, Davis. Professor Bushberg says removing the topsoil might make the land safe for use, but it depends on the depth of the radioactive material. And for now, he says, it is too early to take any measures. Experts says that the ocean will help dilute radiation in seawater, but the tsunami also destroys seafood, sank fishing boats, and leveled processing plants. Charles Ebinger studies the politics of energy at Brookings Institution in Washington. Mr. Ebinger says the danger to adults from radiation contaminated food is overstated. Still, the affected areas of northeastern Japan are deeply dependent on agriculture and fish. He says, so their economy could suffer the most. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. You can download free transcripts and MP3s of all our reports and other special English programs at vospecialenglish.com. You can also find us on Facebook at VOA Learning English.